The wooden fish. Hini lived on an island with his mother and father and brothers and sisters. Hini's mother was always busy weaving, cooking, and gathering food plants from the forest, but she would take only enough flax for a few days' weaving and enough food plants for a few days' meals, never any more than that. "We must leave some for others," she said. Hini's father was a fisherman, but he and the other fishermen in the village would take only enough fish to feed their families. "We must leave some fish for tomorrow," said Hini's father. "We must take only enough for today, never any more than that." Hini played with the other children in the village, but sometimes he wanted to help his mother and father. He asked his mother if he could help her. "No, thank you, Hini," she said. "I have enough help already." He asked his father if he could help him. "No, thank you, Hini," he said. "You're too young to go out in the canoes and lift the heavy nets." So Hini went to his uncle, who was a carver in the village. He asked his uncle if he could help him. "Yes, Hini," said his uncle, "you can help me gather wood. But we must only take wood that is lying on the ground. We must leave the trees to grow. Then they will drop more wood for us to use." Hini and his uncle used the wood they had gathered to carve birds, dolls, and small canoes. One day, the fishermen returned to the village with no fish. The people in the village were unhappy. "What will we eat?" they asked. The next day there was still no fish, and none the next day either, or the next day, or the next. The people of the village were hungry, and because they were hungry, they became angry. Hini's father was always sad. Hini lay in bed one night and listened to the wind and the rain. How could he help make his father happy again? Suddenly he heard a voice in the wind and the rain. "Wooden fish, wooden fish," said the voice. "Wooden fish, wooden fish." "A wooden fish," said Hini. "A wooden fish might make my father happy. Tomorrow I will carve him one." The next day Hini found a perfect piece of wood. It was old but strong, and it was very beautiful. Hini began to carve a fish for his father. It took Hini 2 days to carve the wooden fish. When it was finished, he polished it and wrapped it in a fine cloth. Then he went to find his father. His father was talking to the other fishermen of the village. "There is no food for us here, and we are very hungry," said one fisherman. "We will have to leave this village and look for food." "Look, father," Hini said, "I have made something to make you happy." And Hini gave his father the wooden fish. Hini's father unwrapped the cloth and saw the wooden fish that Hini had carved. He smiled a big, big smile. "Thank you, Hini," he said. "It is very beautiful." "Will everything be better now?" asked Hini. "Well," said his father, "it's a beautiful fish, but we can't eat it. We still need food." Hini was upset. He snatched the wooden fish from his father's hand, ran outside, and threw the fish as hard as he could. It landed in the mud. Hansini's father put his arms around his son. "Don't worry, Hansini," he said. "Everything will be better soon. Sometimes we have good times, and sometimes we have times that are not so good. We have to learn about those times too. Now go and get me that wooden fish. It'll make me feel better." Hansini went down to the mud to get the fish, but it was stuck, and he had to pull hard to get it out. When it came up, it left a hole in the mud the shape of a fish. It was raining, and the rain filled the hole with water. Then, right in front of Hansini's eyes, the water turned into a real live fish that tossed about in the mud. Hansini shouted with excitement. He made such a noise that the people in the village came running. They were very surprised to see a fish tossing about in the mud. "Where did this fish come from?" asked Hansini's father. "Watch!" cried Hansini, and he threw the wooden fish down into the mud again. When he pulled it out, it left another hole. Again the hole was filled with rainwater, and again, when it was full, it turned into a fish. Hansini's father took the wooden fish and did what Hansini had done. A live fish tossed around in the mud. "This fish is magic," he yelled. Again and again they tossed the wooden fish into the mud, and again more fish appeared. Soon there was enough fish for everyone in the village. Hansini wanted to keep throwing the fish, but his father said, "No, Hansini, stop. We have plenty of fish for today. We must save some for tomorrow and the days that will follow." Hansini smiled at his father. He knew just what his father meant. That night, everyone in the village had fish for dinner. When the men of the village went fishing the next day, there were plenty of fish in the sea. Hansini, his family, and all the people in the village were happy again. But Hansini's father put the wooden fish carefully away in case it was ever needed again.